Welcome to Lesson 1. In this lesson, we will explore the importance of understanding the business value of your product development. We'll look into the changing landscape of the consumers and understand the approach that's needed to be able to capture and translate these requirements into the design. The approach we'll be doing is what we call design excellence. In Lesson 1, we will cover the following topics. We'll talk about the changing consumer landscape, how business case is important when you talk about developing a product, and understanding the impact of product development in terms of the organization itself. In the last 5 years, a significant amount of changes have been happening in terms of the consumer taste, preference, and attitude. One of those changes that happened in the perspective of the consumer is how they see products as part of themselves, as more than just a product, but part of their being. It helps them relieve stress and looks at them as a way by which they can connect to their inner self. In addition, consumers look at the products they consume and try to understand how they can actually benefit from its natural ingredients. The focus of using natural, organic ingredients have been a very strong motivation for consumers to seek better products. We are now entering the age of the conscious consumer, where they're not only interested on how much the product costs, what it is, but where it came from, who made it, how it is made. In one of the latest Wall Street Journal article, it says that we're now living in what we call a customized world, where consumers look at their products as for them, for their individuality, and not for general consumption. It is something that they wanted to be able to feel their own personality and their own identity. So you would have products that talk about who they are as an individual. Any effort by the organization to pursue product development would always require a significant effort, not only in terms of time, but also in terms of money and other resources. It's imperative for anybody to be able to understand the real motivation of why we would develop new products. A good example of how things change in terms of how products have evolved over the years, we can see that the speed of innovation of products from the past up until now has been going through what we call an exponential speed. As time passes, the speed by which innovation, improvement, and development of new ideas becomes faster and faster. And because of this speed of innovation, it is important for the business to understand why it has to be able to match the pace of its own development. There are many influencers of how innovation can be sped up or hastened. One is obviously technology. As new technology comes in, there's going to be more and more pressure to embrace and adopt these technologies. The second contributor to the speed of innovation is how fast the people's habits and preference change. Third, it talks about people becoming more and more conscious about themselves. As mentioned a while ago when you talk about the changing consumer landscape, consumers now are very more individualistic and are very more interested on what they want rather than what everybody wants. And finally, there is now also a direction where there are shorter and shorter product life cycles, where no product is permanent. Products can easily be replaced and changed, and therefore consumers are always looking forward for the next one. A very important principle when you think about how your product development can drive your business is to go to the basic idea of the diffusion model, where products go through a typical life cycle of growth and eventually maturity and then decline. In order to be able to take advantage of how these products would help drive your business, you need to be able to see the products as a series of diffusion models where they would have to help drive the growth of the business. No single product can last forever, nor can it sustain the business itself. One goal that the organization needs to keep in mind is that it has to be able to keep pace the rate of innovation. In general, when you talk about organizations, they'd always look forward to having at least around 25% of their new products contribute to their overall revenue. And the goal is to make sure that that contribution remains the same or maintained as the entire revenue also grows. The other side of the business is to be able to manage its cost. Managing its cost allows you to be able to ensure that the bottom line of your business remains healthy. If you look at this diagram, most of the costs are set in the design. 5% of what you decide during the design phase already locks in 70% of your cost of production. No matter how much improvement you do after the product has been designed and made, there's not much you can change. For most organizations, a typical pattern of launching a product oftentimes starts quite slow and eventually requires more and more resources as the launch date appears. And even after all of those efforts are done, it's quite common for most organizations to experience additional resources to be spent on even after launch. And most of these resources are spent on fixing or so-called improving the products. What we are interested is that by looking into our own product development efforts and our processes, we need to be able to come up with a better way of developing our products by investing upfront work early on, which would help lead to faster launches and lesser resources after launch. By looking at the revenue, our production cost, and our time to launch, we need to make sure that we're driving the right impact to our top line and bottom line. When you talk about top line, it talks about the overall revenue that we bring to the organization, and the bottom line is the profit that we get out of it. Oftentimes, many of our existing products would have experienced recalls, complaints, or other returns that are experienced by our customers. In addition, the combination of our current portfolio might not necessarily bring us an optimal value for both the top line and the bottom line, and therefore would require us to look at how best we can review our processes and our product portfolio. looking at all of these things in mind, we need to be able to come up with a better way to design our products better, not only for our customers, but also for the business. We need to embrace the concept of design excellence, where what if we don't have to fix all of these issues at the beginning? Oftentimes, we pursue stopgap solutions, or we try to improve our process in order to prevent the problems from happening. But what we want to happen is that if we can design the quality of the products at the very beginning so that these things don't actually happen, and therefore will protect both our top line and our bottom line. Design excellence is this idea of having a disciplined way of using the right tools and methodologies when we develop new products or processes or services, with the intent to satisfy both our internal customers and our external customers. Internal customers can cover from other functions within the organization, including manufacturing, and our external customers who may be our consumers or our partners who enable our customers to enjoy our products. So what does design excellence actually mean? It is a change in mindset of looking at our effort to look at how we can do things better for our customers. It is a discipline by which we practice the right tools and process to make sure that we are able to avoid any unnecessary cost or undue impact to our customers. It is a methodology that allows us to repeat the process of designing better and better products, and it is a business perspective of product development, where you have to consider the impact to both the bottom line and the top line. Finally, in order to make sure that such an approach to looking at product development, we need to make sure that our core processes are aligned with the idea of design excellence. Design excellence is not only about the people who develop the products, but making sure that all other key business processes such as our customer acquisition function and our supply chain or product delivery and all other enabling processes are aligned towards creating the best products, not only for our business, but for our customers. Some key learning I'd like you to recall in this lesson. It's important to set a clear product development business case for our organization and for our customers. Successful product development should produce effective and efficient new products for the business. Effective in the sense that it brings you a top-line impact, and efficient in that it means it brings you the bottom line you wanted. Second lesson is to focus on preventing and avoiding product issues instead of correcting them. And finally, it's important for us to look at product development and design excellence as not only for the perspective of R&D, but for other core business processes to be aligned and make sure that we are all directing towards the same output.